I know you're here for editing, right? Editing is a thing that you do when you fail to do the right thing in the recording process. We use editing to exclude the bad noises that you failed to exclude from your recording and fix the errors with intonation and timing because you can't play your instrument. Totally not anything that happens to me. Anyways, when we edit, we are working with units of audio known as audio clips. In most DAWs, audio clips can be moved independently and layered on top of each other. Typically, these audio clips are generated by recordings, but they can also be rendered from your project. They can be synthesized, they can be sampled from other songs. Lots of different ways you can get audio clips. Editing audio clips is one of the fundamental tasks of a DAW. If you do anything involving non-synthesized instruments, you will have to familiarize yourself with all the different commands used for editing in your particular DAW. There are a number of common ways that you can manipulate audio clips. One that I've already discussed is moving the clips in time, making the audio play earlier or later. We can also split audio clips. In some DAWs, this is called slicing or cutting. Splitting an audio clip splits it into two clips, about a split point. After you've split a clip, each of the two resulting clips can be manipulated independently, just like any other audio clip. And of course, just like many of the things on a computer, you can copy, cut, paste, and delete clips. Already, with just these few manipulations available to us, it becomes obvious how to solve certain problems with our recordings. For example, suppose that a clip has a mistake that we don't want. We simply split around the mistake and delete the middle clip, and thus we've gotten rid of our mistake. Suppose that we have a guitar part that comes in too early. All we have to do is move our clip a little bit to the right, that is later in time, and our guitar part will play correctly, and so on and so forth. In addition to simply moving clips, most DAWs will also allow you to manipulate the pitch, speed, and volume of clips. Manipulating pitch can be used to adjust samples from a song into the correct key for our song, or it can also be used as a rudimentary form of pitch correction. Manipulating the speed of a clip can allow us to take a sample from another song, or a sample pack, and adjust it to the correct tempo for our song. It can also be used to a limited extent to correct the timing of our recorded instrument parts.
Manipulating pitch and speed of a clip can also be used as an artistic effect.
Manipulating the volume of our clip allows us, to an extent, to compensate for things like having an inconsistent recording setup that results in producing inconsistent volumes. Now, the mathematics and physics inclined among you may have noticed that there is supposed to be a dependency between speed and pitch. If I'm speeding up a clip, it should play at a higher frequency, right? Well, in the music production world, it's simply easier for us to think of these as separate variables. A note's duration is distinct from a note's pitch. So most digital audio workstations will actually allow you to adjust a clip's speed and pitch independently of each other. And the way they do this is through proprietary algorithms, such as Z-Plane's Elastic Pro time stretching algorithm. The last basic manipulation of clips that should be present in any DAW is the ability to add fades and crossfades. The reason you do this is to avoid sounds like this. Sloppy editing. The clicking or popping that you hear in the audio is a result of making an abrupt cut in the audio. Think about it this way: if I took a sound and then I put a cut in the middle of it to complete silence, essentially you're telling your speakers to go from position A to position B instantaneously, which ends up creating that clicking or popping sound. To avoid this, we need to use fades and crossfades. Fades are manipulations that gradually bring down a volume for clips, and they're suitable for working with clips that transition to silence. By using this gradual transition instead of an abrupt cut, we avoid the problems with clicking or popping. Crossfades, on the other hand, are similar to fades, but they also involve bringing the volume up of a second clip, so they're useful for sort of blending two different clips together. For example, two different takes of a vocal track. Now, in terms of my own work, most of my editing work goes into vocal tracks. Not surprising. Most of my vocal tracks, this one being no exception, are assembled from many different takes, often taking advantage of the ability to move, split, and delete clips to get rid of mistakes and adjust timing. When I do doubled vocal tracks or harmony tracks, I do my best to try to edit them to line up as closely as possible. Lastly, on vocal and guitar tracks, you can trim the quote-unquote silence, or the parts where they're not supposed to be playing or singing, in order to reduce unnecessary noises in your production. So those are just some examples of where I apply editing in my own productions.
And that's editing.